What if everything you thought you knew about life was just half the story? What if the real builders of evolution are not even living people yet? Welcome to the lost roots of viruses, because as long as we have been looking at dinosaurs, genes, and the tree of life, something else is coming. Invisible, unpublished, not living, but unimaginably strong. Viruses. Tiny, silent, and everywhere. They don't breathe, they don't eat, they don't even live, not in the sense that we live. But for billions of years they have been directing evolution without saying. So whatever history we are now discovering can be written about the origin of life itself, the thing that shouldn't be alive. Let's get one thing straight. Viruses defy definition. They don't have cells, they don't have a metabolism, they don't make energy, they don't grow. According to NASA's criteria, they're not even considered alive. And yet, they evolve, they adapt, they outnumber every living organism on the planet by an order of magnitude, 10 times more viruses than bacteria in Earth's oceans alone. We're talking 10 compartments and descent viral particles. That's more than the stars in the observable universe. So, what are they? Parasites? Hitchhikers? Molecular zombies? Or are they something else entirely? Something ancient? Origins unknown. For decades, scientists have debated the origin of viruses. But here's the truth. No one knows for sure. There are three main theories. The escape theory. Picture this. Fragments of DNA or RNA, selfish genes, once part of living cells, breaking away. Over time, they learn to package themselves in protein coats. They become mobile and infectious. Viruses. Sounds far-fetched? Not really. It's exactly how retrotransposons, genetic stowaways in our DNA, behave. Add a capsid, and boom, infection engine. Then there's the reduction hypothesis, the opposite idea. What if viruses used to be cells? Parasites that degenerated over millions of years, shedding unnecessary genes until all that remained was a viral core. This idea got a boost from a monster, mimivirus, a giant virus the size of a bacterium with over 1,000 genes, including some involved in protein synthesis, too big to be just a virus, too small to be a cell, a ghost of evolution, caught mid-fade. But the boldest theory, the one that blows the others wide open, the virus-first hypothesis. What if viruses didn't come from life, but before it? Imagine a world before cells, before DNA, a primordial soup of self-replicating RNA, the so-called RNA world. Some of these molecules form bubbles, steal from others, and evolve. Sound familiar? They're not parasites, they're pioneers. Viruses might not be the byproduct of life, they might be its precursor. Viruses don't die, they evolve. So what makes a virus a virus? No metabolism, no ribosomes, no independent replication. But what do they have? Genetic material. Viruses are lean, mean replication machines. Some use RNA, others use DNA. Some are single-stranded, others double-stranded. Some make a direct copy, others reverse transcribe. Retroviruses like HIV rewrite the rules, literally. And because they replicate inside hosts, they evolve fast, insanely fast. RNA viruses, in particular, mutate at blistering speeds. Their polymerases are sloppy. But in the viral world, that's not a bug, it's a feature. More mutations mean greater diversity, which in turn enhances survival. This is why we can't kill them off. They're not just adaptable, they're evolution incarnate. The invisible hand of evolution. Viruses aren't just passengers in the story of life. They're the saboteurs, the engineers, the architects of change. For billions of years, viruses have been silently sculpting the genetic landscape of every organism on Earth, leaving behind fingerprints in every domain of life. From the simplest microbes to the complexity of human beings, their influence is everywhere. Take us, for example, humans, Homo sapiens, proud carriers of culture, consciousness, and viruses. Roughly 8% of the human genome is made up of ancient viral remnants. Not bacteria, not mutations, viruses, specifically ancient retroviruses that long ago infected our ancestors and embedded their DNA into our chromosomes. And that viral DNA has been passed down ever since. One of those genes, called syncytin, is now essential for the formation of the placenta. Without it, mammals, including humans, couldn't exist. A virus helped create motherhood. Bacteria, they've spent eons fighting viruses too. That battle gave rise to CRISPR, the genetic memory system bacteria use to defend themselves, and which we now use for Nobel-winning gene editing. Even our immune system itself has evolved under relentless viral pressure. Viruses forced our ancestors to adapt or die. That constant war gave rise to complexity. So next time you hear virus, don't just think of pandemics or disease. Think of evolution, innovation, hidden design. Because viruses aren't just the villains of biology, they're also the unseen hands guiding its masterpiece. The shadow biosphere. Now brace yourself, because the deeper we dig, the weirder it gets. In 2025, scientists discovered Candidatus succuna archaeum mirabile, an organism so minimal it might as well be a virus. It lives inside plankton, has almost no metabolic genes, and relies on its host for everything, except it still has ribosomes. It's not a virus, but it's not a full-fledged cell either. It's something in between, a bridge, a warning. Just how blurry is the line between life and not life? And it doesn't stop there. We now know of giant viruses that carry hundreds of cellular-like genes. Then you have virophages, viruses that target other viruses. Imagine an entire ecosystem dedicated to taking down viruses, while we think we're battling bacterial infections. These virophages might be lurking in the soil or water samples taken from remote areas of the planet. And now, with new sequencing techniques, we're finally getting a glimpse into these tiny viral predators. Viruses hunting bacteria is not science fiction. That's exactly what bacteriophages do. They are everywhere in our environment and within us, regulating bacterial populations and affecting our health. A history without beginnings. So, where does this leave us? Back at the beginning? Or maybe before beginnings even existed? Because what if viruses didn't merely arise alongside life? What if they were woven into its blueprint from the very start? A deeper layer, hidden beneath the scaffolding of biology as we know it. Some scientists now propose a radical idea, that viruses invented DNA. In a world ruled by RNA, where fragile molecules carried out replication and catalysis, certain RNA viruses may have developed enzymes, like reverse transcriptase, to shield their genetic material from host defenses. They converted their RNA into a more stable molecule, DNA. And somewhere along the line, cells copied that trick. They didn't invent DNA. They borrowed it from viruses. Let that sink in. The molecule that stores all life's genetic code might have originated in a parasite. But it gets even stranger. A bold theory suggests the eukaryotic nucleus, the structure that defines complex life, may have once been a giant virus. A virus so large, so invasive, that it didn't just infect a cell, it fused with it, became part of it. Over time, their genomes and functions became entangled beyond separation. If true, we didn't just evolve from simple cells. We evolved from a marriage of cell and virus. And in that union, the line between invader and host dissolved. They became one. And maybe that's how complexity was born. Not from chaos, but from cooperation with a virus. Viruses aren't alive, there's something more. The conclusion? There isn't one. That's the strange beauty of viruses. They don't fit in our boxes. There's no single last viral common ancestor, no neat evolutionary tree. Instead, viruses are polyphyletic, meaning they originated not once, but many times, from different sources, in different ways, across deep time. Some may have escaped from cellular genomes. Others may be the broken-down remnants of ancient cells that lost their independence. And some, perhaps the most mysterious of all, may predate cells entirely, the ghost echoes of a pre-cellular world. Are viruses alive? According to most definitions, no. They have no metabolism and no ability to replicate without a host. But maybe the real problem isn't viruses. Maybe it's our definition of life. Because viruses evolve, they adapt, they shape ecosystems and influence genomes. They're not just parasites, they're programmers, architects, agents of change. Perhaps they represent a third form of biological existence, not living, not non-living. A silent network. A genetic force that doesn't just ride the wave of evolution, it generates it. Viruses aren't failures of biology. They're reminders that nature doesn't follow our rules, and maybe they're older and wiser than life itself. The code beneath the code. So here's the question that should keep you up tonight. If viruses have been here from the beginning, what else have they built? How many innovations in biology were whispered by viral genomes before we even knew how to listen? And if viruses are everywhere, in every cell, every drop of water, every breath of air, then maybe they aren't intruders at all. Maybe they're the software running the operating system of life. And maybe, just maybe, they're still writing code. If this blew your mind, hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden truths from the frontiers of science, and leave us a comment. Do you think viruses are alive or something stranger? Until next time, stay curious.